Yeah, so now we're going to go and get into breaking down the movie from start to finish. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be using the trailer as I break down the movie. So at the very start, it started off with it started off with three of three friends, her, um, him, and another fella that isn't in this trailer. But the three of them were planning to go to the cinema together, and one of the friends says that he'd stay behind, which is this fella here. He said that he had to go and get his homework finished before the next day. So he goes and heads home, and he goes up the hill that you're going to see in the next part of the video when I'm showing the estate. But I'll go up towards his house, and the two friends will head off. And so then when he reaches his house, he notices that his back gate is open, which is this scene here. So that's him walking towards his back gate. And then once he has the gate locked, he turns around and he sees the killer come out. His line was, "Oh, thank God I noticed that because someone could have broken in." And that's when my character comes up, the killer, grabs him by the neck and strangles him, and then stomps on the body as he walks away. And that's the scene there. You can see a stormtrooper in the back of my hoodie. And then after that, his body will go missing. So what I was thinking is, after I filmed this, we went back and said that we'd show a little thing of me dragging him away instead of just walking away. Because then, when the friends come back, they'll, well, not that day, but over the next few days or next day or two, they realize that he hasn't went to school and that he hasn't contacted them, and he hasn't even left the house. So they go try and call out for him, but he doesn't answer. So they assume that he's probably just gone away. So then, yeah, there was another version of the scene as well. A whole different start to the movie, where it'd be inside this fella's house, and he'd get a call. Well, I reckon that it would be too much like Scream, because after he gets the call, the killer was supposed to pop out from the kitchen and chase him up the stairs and kill him up the stairs. But while we were filming that scene, the actors' parents, they were recording and they seemed to look very concerned So I decided not to leave that in, and I cut the scene halfway through because it was very awkward having him glaring at me, chasing him up the stairs. So yeah, it's as if they thought I was going to actually kill him. So I cut that part out and just replaced it with this scene. So yeah, a few days after, when they file a police report, no, this is after. So first, a couple of days after, when the friend that isn't shown in this trailer, let's just pretend that's him. He's going out to his friend's house, and this is just another random scene just thrown in to have the killer kill someone, just like any other horror movie. So no, I don't even know if it was the other friend or not. So it was just a random person. They were going over to their friend's house, and they were walking along this path, and they make it over fine. And then when they're leaving the house that night, you get a point of view from the killer stalking them, and they notice him, and they look down. They're like, who the hell is that? Then they shout down at him to go away. So then the killer would just walk away. And so the fella goes and runs home, and he realizes that he forgot his keys over at his friend's house. So he's like, oh, god damn, I have to run back over. And he runs back over to get his keys. His friend's like, are you sure you don't want to stay here, especially after that weirdo staring at us a few minutes ago? It's like, alright, no, I'm fine. I'll just run home as fast as I can. So then as he's going towards his house, the killer will pop out and start chasing him. The fella would trip over, and then before he could react, he sees the killer charge towards him, jump on him, and then stab him a few times. Then he'd drag his body away. And then that's when the main character, her, the next day, she's walking down through the estate, and she sees the fella's friend outside the fella's house, and he's talking to his parents, and they're like, he hasn't returned home, we thought he would have been at your house. And he would say, yeah, he was at my house, but he left. He said that he was going home. And then as he was walking away from the door, the main character, goes over to ask him about what happened. And he says, my friend was hanging out with me last night, and my friend was hanging out with me last night, and he's just after he somehow went missing. He went and left my house last night, and I haven't heard from him since. And then he starts to think, he's like, wait, I seen a man he kept watching us last night, and then he would start to have, um, you know, he starts to get a bit worried. It's like, oh no. And then Robbie's like, the main character is like, oh, wait, my friend went missing a few days ago as well. And then he starts thinking like, oh no, we better go and talk to the guards about it, the police. It's like, yeah, that would be a good idea. So they go and head down to the police station, and they talk to him about it, or the guard station, they talk to him about it, and they're like, alright, we'll try and get some night watchers to come up and check out that estate to see if they find anyone that night. And okay, thanks. So then as she's walking home, sorry about that. So yeah, as she's walking home from the Garda station, she ends up running into me, and my character acts all friendly, and he starts talking to her about hearing what happened, either where he heard it from the fella's parents' house, or someone going missing. And she's just like, oh yeah, and then he's having a conversation about it, and then my character goes and brings up, do you think it could be crazy whatever I didn't have a name from, or forget the name from? It's second, this fellow. I'm just like, do you think crazy whatever his name is took them? And then she starts like, maybe he could have. I didn't think about that. And I was making a report, and then my character goes and asks, oh, you made a report about it. Maybe when they come up tonight, try and tell them about it. And ask your friend to go and tell her as well. Now, the thing about that is that he wasn't there to actually hear them talking to each other. No, we'll cut that. He was actually there to hear them talk to each other. So when he brings up, when you're talking to your friend again, she ignores it because you're in a deep conversation. Do you know when you don't really realize some things people say or the way they put them? So then my character and her character go down to his house, and we knock on the door. No, that wasn't no. First, yeah, they finish up their conversation, and then my character is like, do you know what? It would take too long for them, or they're not going to be here for a while. How about we go and try and investigate it a bit ourselves? And she's like, what? You crazy? He'll go mad. And he's out of his mind. And then my character would be like, well, we have to do something about it, because, or at least get some bit of evidence that could point towards him. And she's like, oh, maybe you're right. So they go and knock on the door. The fella screams through the thing, who is it? Who's there? That was in one of the versions. And then he would come out and trying to attack them. But in the second version was that he wasn't actually there, and that we would go around and investigate his backyard ourselves. And that's this part here. We were in his backyard, and we went and checked his shed. It was all dirty, had rags, had long grass, and we found dry blood stains. And then as we were walking out of the place, he attacks us. And at first, when he goes to attack us, I grabbed the bat, and then I would push him, because my character isn't, well, first my character like pushes it back against him aggressively, and then when he realizes, oh crap, wait, I can't do anything right now, he shoves him, and then they both make a run for it, and he starts chasing them. She while she's walking, she gets a cramp in her leg and trips over, and then he goes over to hit her while she's on the floor, and then my character first she gets up and backs up against a tree, then my character runs down and would, he's supposed to punch him, but I didn't want to risk actually punching him, so it just looks like another shove again. I shove him back. As you can see, she's like reacting. And then during that scene, the guards come up and they would arrest him because they'd notice him they'd notice him, chasing after us. And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? And then my character steps in and is like, this fella is crazy. We believe he's the reason those two people went missing, and he tried to kill us just now. And then they go and detain him, bring him in, and then the estate goes quiet for a while, and then the main character, she goes and gets a text from her phone. First she has a nightmare. That was the scene that we were doing before the movie got cancelled. She had a nightmare about the killer still being out there, and she gets a text on her phone, the killer texting her. Well, to suppose the killer, because it's just a dream, texting her, and then he gets into her house, and in the dream, he kills her. Then she wakes up, she's panicking, she's like, oh, Jesus, I need to rest, he's gone now. And then she starts thinking about her friend. She gets a little upset. She looks over pictures of the both of them together, and then that's when she receives an actual text. And she rubs her eyes. She's like, wait, what, who's this? It was from an unknown, a private number. And then she's like, who's this? I don't recognize you. And then he's like, oh, I don't think of what I said now, or what he said. He texts back to her, we thought it was over yet. Oh, no, that was the message that started off. Then she's like, who are you? Why are you doing this to us? And then he texts back, I think you already know why. And then she gets confused, and then he texts her, I'll be seeing you later. And he sends her a picture of her through her window, and she looks at her window and sees no one there, so she runs over and she makes sure that the window is locked, runs downstairs, make sure the door is locked. And then, kind of like Scream. And then it cuts to another scene of other people in the estate. Just a few minutes after she received that call, it's the Garda patrolling around. He just drove back up. By the maniac's house. To check for the bodies. Him and his whoever was with him, another character. So they're going looking around the fella's house, and it's all messy and gritty, and the floorboards are like sticking out kind of, and there's creaks all over the place. And then they hear a creak from upstairs, and they're like, we need to check that. And then the other officer's like, yeah, well, I'll go with you. He could have just been a mouse, though. This place is a dump. He says, well, um, well, we need to investigate it anyways. I'm not very good at the way they go talk to each other, so. And I didn't have an actual script, like I said, so I'm just kind of going off my head what I would have wanted them to say, since I never got to this scene. Never got to recording it. So, they'd go up the stairs and look into the rooms, and they'd see dry blood. And, the officer walks into the room, and when he's walking into the room, you see in the background, the killer grab another officer by the mouth and sit on his neck. And the other officer looks in and sees the dead bodies hanging down. Like, oh god, we found him. Then he goes to turn around to see his partner down on the floor. He's like, oh no, the radio's at him, man down, or whatever way they radio it in. He's like, officer's down, and then as he does that, he hears a creak, and it goes silent. And he looks up, and it's pitch black. The light's been turned off. And then he's like, what the? Then he starts hearing the creaking again, but it's like, and then you can see the mask come into view. The mask kind of like highlighted, charged towards the officer, and he charges and stabs into him with his knife, killing the officer. And then, yeah, and that's that scene over with. And then it kind of gets to, I'll get to the climax, because I was still planning it out beforehand, but I had the climax completely planned out. So there was a scene before this. No, what it is. It was the main character going out to meet her friend who was not in this trailer, another friend, who wanted to talk to her about them going to the Halloween festival that was going to happen. And then the main character's like, I don't know. After all, everything that's happening, I think it's too risky. And then her friend's like, well, that's all happening in that state, and it'd be better if you just come down with us and to just relax. The killer's caught. And then the main girl's like, well, we don't actually know if that's the killer or not. We don't know if they found the bodies inside his house. And she's like, look, I'm sure they did. You just need to relax. And then the main girl's like, I guess you're right. Alright. And then her friend's like, alright, great. Meet you at Halloween. He meets you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Be dressed up. Don't be late. And it's like, alright, grand, see you, girl. And then when the main girl is walking back, she encounters me again, who asks her about what she's going to be doing for Halloween. And she's like, oh, first she gets a fright. It's going to be like a jump scare moment. Oh, you scared me there. My character, oh, sorry about that. What are you going to be, yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to scare you, especially after everything that happened. Oh, how are you? She's like, oh yeah, I'm good. How are you? Yeah, I'm good. A lot more calm. Especially with that killer cop. She's like, yeah, I'm still trying to grasp her. But I feel like the killer is still out there. And it's like, oh, well, I'm sure that's just part of the trauma. And she's like, yeah, I guess you're right. But anyways, he's like, what are you doing for Halloween? He's like, oh, I'm just going to be meeting up with my friend to go down to the festival. Do you want to come with us? And my character is like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a good time. I'm sure to join me. She's like, oh yeah, fine, I'll just let her know, because she's not good with me bringing extra company. And he's like, oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Even if she don't want me to go with you, I'll leave you. I'll leave you go by yourselves. Like, oh, well, I'll go check with her anyways and see what happens. I'll let you know. And then she's like, oh yeah, cool. So I'll to say goodbye to each other. They head off. Then it cuts to the next day when they're getting ready for the Halloween party. And the main girl goes to meet up with her friend. She goes and tells her about the ballet. She's like, oh, alright, fine, I don't care. Bring him. Then she lets him know. He comes down with her. And they all meet up. So then my character meets her friend for the first time. They shake hands. They're like, oh yeah, your costume's pretty cool. And they all compliment each other. And then, yeah, they head down to the festival. And while they're down there, while they're walking around, I'm just kind of skipping now. While they're walking around, my character would talk to her. Say, oh yeah, I've been getting these messages off this private number, and they're just kind of trying to play the fool. I see there's some kids from around this time. But you know what? How about I try and ring it and see what happens? And her friend's like, oh yeah, you should totally do that. And my character is like, oh, I need to go and do something. She's like, wait, it would just be fun. I want to be a second. Character like, yeah, I'll be back in a second, okay? Then as he's walking off, his phone starts to ring. And he picks it up. He's lifting it up. And then she looks over, like slightly, and she recognizes her name's on his screen. So, oh, wait, oh no. And then my character turns around and he starts to look angry. And he's like, I told you not to do that. Then he goes and takes out the mask and puts it on. And then both of them start. First, her friend's like, what are you doing? And she walks over to him, and there's a whole like crowd going, walking around them. And then when the crowd walks past the two of them, notice he's not there anymore. And the main character looked down and see her friend on the floor after being stabbed. She's not dead, but she's been stabbed badly. Like, oh no, oh god, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And she's like, her friend is like, oh no, you're fine, he must have went with the crowd. And then the main character goes and calls over for someone to help him. A medical person comes over, starts looking after him. And then she gets a text saying of a location. And she goes to the location, and as she walks to the door closes slowly, and my character runs out and grabs her, and she elbows him. And it's like, why would you do this? I thought we were. And then my character was like, friends. Friends now, after all these years of the way you ignored me, and the way your stupid friends would always go and make comments about me being the weird fella around that state. She's like, what do you mean? I never said anything like that before. He's like, oh, are you sure? Then he goes and pulls out his phone and shows her a thing that she shared online before. This fella going, and I'm not sure what he's doing. He's doing something embarrassing anyways. The thing had a whole bunch of views and stuff. It's like, oh wait, that was you. It's like, yeah, that was me. And I'm surprised you haven't recognized me all this time. But look, this is my payback, and this is what you get. All I wanted was to have some friends and have the same group that you had. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean. I didn't know. And I'm sorry. Then my character would be like, it's too late for apologies now. It's time to end this. Then he goes over to stop her. And that's when the guards come in and like, drop your weapon. Because during the time they were talking, the main character, before she went into the building, she went and rang the guards, and they heard everything. They go and arrest the killer, and they go and put him away, and she goes and she's all traumatic. She's up in the hospital with her friend, talking to her, and they have to talk about it, about everything that happened. Her friend's like, oh, wait, so that video you done long ago was actually that fella? She's like, yeah. And she just looks back from the photo of her friend, the one that died. She's like, oh, I did this to you. And she has a big sense of guilt now, because she was kind of, it's not completely her fault, because she didn't know something that just come back to haunt her, but I guess the little message was that, like, treat everyone the way that you would want to be treated. Because it is a very real thing now, especially these days, where people getting bullied are turning into killers, basically. Now, of course, I didn't think it would relate that way back in 2017, but just even thinking about it now, if I was ever to try and redo it, it would be so much more relatable compared to I'd have more of a sense of the relatability between the character and real life people, but there's no good people in this situation. Of course, there's innocent people, like the girl's friends who had to suffer from it, the ones who didn't know about it, and that's just like the innocent people who get it in person. No one deserves it, but yeah, no one deserves it, but people need to be more careful with the way they treat people. Yeah, the movie ends with my character in the jail cell. And they go and they're pulling on their restraints. And then, they're pulling on their restraints. And they're just saying the same thing over and over again. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And that would follow into the planned sequel that I had. Like I already said, I was thinking way too far ahead with this thing. I had 3 movies planned for it. The second movie was going to be called Massacre. I know. Yeah, that's kind of the whole breakdown of the movie. And yeah, so basically for the whole aftermath of the thing and why it was cancelled, actors were not able to do some things. I thought my issues with people's guardians being like, no, you're not to put them into the movie. If you do, you can get into trouble. And I was like, okay, fine, I won't. Then I kept on having to remove scenes and add new scenes and redoing things. And then the main character was like, alright, I don't want to be in this anymore because it's too much changes. And that was on the dream sequence. And as it was coming up to Halloween for the big climax, practically all of the main people didn't want to be in it anymore. So I just didn't do it anymore. And after the whole thing, I did get quite upset and I deleted a whole bunch of footage. that existed for the movie, including the 3 trailers they had first, some of the posters. The remaining ones are the ones you saw at the very start of the video. On my PS Vita, the thing that I used to record some of the scenes, the memory card is broken on that, so I can't get access to a lot of the footage on that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was kind of it for Cascade Massacre and the aftermath of the whole thing. We all kind of went our own ways after it. I always talked about it, but I think this was when the 5th year anniversary to just put it to rest finally, let out my thoughts, and just say goodbye to it. I learned a lot from making it. I learned a lot about people who would want to be on it, and learned that, some things are important, some things I didn't do, and things that I could learn from this, things I could take from this and improve on. But yeah, that was it. Next I'm going to be showing the estate, and I'm going to be ending the documentary from there. So, and showing the little bits of footage that still exists, but you've seen most of them inside the trailer anyways. So, yeah, I'm going to go to be at the estate now. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.